Okay, this is a introduction explanation for IM1 about what we call dimensional analysis, and that name is in the title of this video. Also sometimes called unit conversion. So we're talking about dimensional analysis or unit conversion. And both of these terms refer to the units or the labels. So in this example, the units are kilometers per hour. And so here's a speed limit sign that you might see in every other country in the world practically that uses the metric system. But because we're used to the American system, if you're traveling in Europe, you might see this sign and you want to think about terms of reference that make more sense to you, and that would be miles per hour. So this is probably a math problem you could do in various ways, but I'm going to show you the method specifically called dimensional analysis, which when I finally learned this in 10th grade, it made it much more clear, even though it does seem like more work sometimes than necessary. So the way I do these is I start out with writing what we're given. And we're going to write it like this: 80 kilometers per hour, writing it as a ratio. And then way over here on the right, I'm going to write what's our goal, just the units. So we want to write this in miles per hour. So that's like our target. We have our starting point and our target, and we're going to do a series of unit conversions, and everything follows the units. So a series of unit conversions that will take us from kilometers per hour to miles per hour. Okay, so one thing to note is our hours are already fine. So the only thing we're really changing is kilometers to miles. And in order to do this, we need to know some sort of unit equivalences. So if we happen to know how many kilometers equal how many miles, well, we can figure that out. So I'm going to Google that right now on my computer. Kilometers in a mile. And I see that there are 1.61 kilometers equals 1 mile. So this is an equivalency. Because those two things are equal, then we could have them in a fraction, for example, and something over something else that is equal will equal 1. I'll show you what that does. So what we want to do is make our units cancel. So we're going to be multiplying this by a fraction. It's going to have a value of a giant 1, because by multiplying it by the number 1, we will not change the value. We're just going to change the way it looks. And we want kilometers to go away, so the kilometers needs to go on the bottom. That way kilometers will cancel with kilometers. And the equivalency we have is up here, and so we know we have a kilometer to miles equivalency, and the numbers go with the labels. So this is 1.61, and this is 1. When our units cancel, we're going to be left with miles, and so this is a simple one-step example, which many of them will be, where once we do the math, we're going to have the answer we need. So across the top, all we have is just 80 times 1. And on the bottom, we have 1.61 times 1. And this is going to be miles per hour. So take out your calculator, which I have in my hand, and we go 80 divided by 1.61. And we get 49.7. That's okay to round. Miles per hour. So if you're driving along the highway and you see an 80 kilometer per hour sign, that equates to roughly 50 miles per hour. And so if you're a driver, you might think, oh, okay, that's about how fast I would go on a, not even on the highway, it's slower than highway speed. So it it puts it into some context that we understand. Okay, that's example 1. Example number 2. Here's a cheetah that is said to have ran at 61 miles per hour. So that cheetah could run alongside of cars that are traveling on a highway and keep up. But the other thing we know about cheetahs is they can't do that for very long. But let's say that it could keep up that speed for 30 seconds. The question would be, how far could it run? So just like before, we're going to start always with our starting point as a ratio. So there's our 61 miles in 1 hour. And way over here on the right, we're going to put our target. And in this case, it's going to just be question mark in 30 seconds. Okay, so we know that at some point hours is going to have to change to seconds. And then there's another question. Do we really want to know how many miles it travels in 30 seconds? Well, we can probably know that it's not going to go that much. So how about instead of how far could it run, we can say how far in feet, just to make it maybe a number that makes a little bit more sense. So this is going to be feet, question mark feet per 30 seconds. So we can take one unit at a time. Let's start with getting miles into feet. So we're basically going to say we need to know some equivalencies. Well, here's something I learned long ago that I don't even need to look up. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So miles are on the top. They need to go on the bottom to cancel. Feet go here. And we put our numbers next to the units. 5,280, 1 mile. Show your units canceling, and we're left with feet, which is what we wanted. So we don't need to do the math yet. We can put all of our conversions in one line and then simplify the math at the end, knowing that we have our units that work. Okay, now, hours are on the bottom over here on the left. We have hours here. So we need to put hours on the top and convert that to something. Well, I think most people know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So hours to minutes, 1 hour, 60 minutes. Show your hours canceling. We're currently at minutes, but we want 30 seconds. Well, we know that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. Minutes are on the bottom, so they need to go on the top here. Seconds on the bottom, 1 and 60. Show your units canceling. Now we currently have feet and seconds. So this is going to actually give us the feet per 1 second. And so then we're probably just going to want to multiply this by 30 seconds so that all we end up with is feet per 30 seconds. But let's just hold off on that. And we'll get our answer in feet per second, and then we'll go from there. So all of our units are canceled off, so now we just need to do the math across the top. So across the top, on my calculator, I'm going to do 61 times 5,280 times 1 equals 322,080, and that doesn't really mean much yet. On the bottom, we have 60 times 60, which is 3,600. Now we need to do that math. 322,080 divided by 3,600 equals 89.5, rounding that, feet per second. And that's pretty crazy. If you were standing there and watched a cheetah run by and you went 1,000, 1,000, in the time you went to count that, the cheetah would have traveled 90 feet. Okay, and so then the last step, because we want to know how far could it run in 30 seconds, is just to multiply that by 30 seconds times 30 equals 2,684 feet. Okay, so this is two examples of how to do the dimensional analysis. And again, there are different ways to do this, but using dimensional analysis to change or convert units from one to another, showing this system of ratios that all have the value of 1. Remember, this is 1, this is 1, this is 1. To get you from a starting point to an ending point is a very systematic way to make sure you know, am I multiplying or am I dividing in each conversion? Hope this helps, and you'll have some practice to do in your lab for the day.